Good morning, my beloved. Kalimera sa agapitimu. I know you've heard this before because it is a very old joke. But like things that are good, it bears hearing more than once. There's a joke that starts out by saying, no one yet has seen a U-Haul behind a hearse. That takes a moment to sink in. The U-Haul is usually to take special possessions, usually to take things that are precious to us, usually to take with us things that we feel we need. U-Haul has expanded a very, very profitable empire in the world, allowing us to add a little trailer onto our car or van or truck or whatever the case may be. What about the hearse? What does a hearse need a U-Haul for? That's the point. It does not. Because the person who is riding as the guest of honor in the hearse is not going to be taking anything with him or her to wherever it is that he or she is going. Reality of life. Though this year our Pascha, the Orthodox Pascha, is a bit late. This year, of course, we're having Pascha in the Orthodox tradition, May the 5th, late. Our Western Christian friends are having it the last Sunday of March. I think it's March 30th, I believe, this year. 5 weeks difference. Nonetheless, the Orthodox schedule, the Orthodox calendar, is still coming quickly upon us. I'm saying that because we're getting ready, where the church is trying to shake us up a little bit, to remind us a little bit, to try to get us ready for the most intense time, for the most sensitive time, for among the most significant of all times that we have during the entire year. That's called Great Lent. For us this year, Great Lent always begins on a Monday for us, and it's March the 18th. So you say, oh gosh, we've still got another month. That month goes by very quickly. So the church is here, tugging on us, on our shoulders, on our clothes, saying, watch it now. You think you have time, but you don't have that much time to get ready for this very special period. I'm saying all of that because today's gospel lesson is a very timely, meaningful gospel lesson. You'll remember, I'm sure, those of you who have the missals can remind yourselves as you're looking at it, glancing at it, the story of the talents. The talents. And you'll remember the story how the master was, this is a parable, the master was going to go on a long journey, and he divided up the things that he felt very special, that he wanted to share with his workers so that they could be doing some things with these talents, with these possessions that he had. And instead of just dragging them along with him, he decided to give them to his servants so that they could utilize them. And you'll remember, to one he gave 5 talents, the other he called up and he said, I'm giving you 2 talents, and to another one he said, I'm giving you 1 talent. And the story goes how the one servant with the 5 talents immediately took his 5 talents, went out, invested them, worked them, and in doing so, he gained another 5 talents. The one with the 2 talents did exactly the same thing. He took his 2 talents, which was less than half of what the one before him was getting. But he took his 2 talents, went out, invested them, worked with them, and he gained another 2 talents. But the one who thought he was going to be so smart He got 1 talent. What did he do? Immediately, he went out and he buried it in the ground, it says, and he let it lie there, leaving it alone. When the master came back, he wanted his talents back. He wanted what he had given them to see what they did. And sure enough, the one with the 5 talents gave him not only the 5 that he gave him, but another 5. And he was rewarded for his entrepreneurship. The one with the 2 talents came, gave to his master, "Here, master, I gave you 2 talents. You gave me 2 talents. He gives you your 2 back. And here's another 2. Then there's the one who came back and said, "Master, I know that you are a very difficult man. You are a very difficult man. Would you just take the one I gave you so that I know that you could be very harsh. You can be very hard. So I'm giving you the same thing you gave me so that you don't hold me accountable and responsible for anything above and beyond." But the master was extremely angry with him because he did nothing with what he was given. And this is the lesson in today's gospel. For me, for us. God gives you, me, things. God gives you, me, gifts. God gives you, me, talents. He gives us these things to utilize. He gives us these things so that we can use them in a way that's going to be not only beneficial for us, for me, but also for people around me. Yes, for my family, and yes, for other people that I come into contact with. It's not just for little Tommy. It's also for you to appreciate what God has given me. I have a responsibility to share with you what God has given me. But I have to be able to utilize it. I have to be able to use it. I have to know what to do with it. I have to work. The whole purpose of this lesson is to try to remind me that if I take what God has given me, if I accept what God has given me, by the way, just as a little aside, why did he give 5 to the one that he gave 5 to? Why did he give 2 to the one that he gave 2 to? Why? Why did he give 1 to that one? Well, as it turns out, he made a good choice because he knew that the one with the 5 talents was going to do something. He had some desire to get out and work. And the one with the 2, maybe he wasn't quite as talented in entrepreneurship, in business, whatever it was, as did the one with the 5. But he knew that the one with the 1 talent was not going to do much with it. What was it? What were the telltale signs? I don't know, but I'm sure the master knew. The lesson for me, oftentimes, I will look at this God and I will say, "God, look at my neighbor over here. He has a big house. He has 5 cars. He goes on trips, and he does all kinds of things, and he's just set. Why didn't you do that for me?" What about another neighbor over here who doesn't have quite as much, but he's got a lot more than I've got? Why, God? Why don't you give me all of these things like you did these other people? Maybe, just maybe, I have to realize that I need to go out and take a move, make a move, take a step. Now, we're talking about material things. It's not just the material. We, as human beings, have been given the 3 most awesome gifts that God could give us with life. And that is time, talents, and treasure then. Time and talent. Let's do it a little bit in reverse. Treasures, okay, I didn't get a big house with 5 cars, but I have a house. I have something that I can live in, something that's habitable, something livable. So I'm not necessarily, unless I want to be, I'm not out, so to speak, out in the streets. I can get around. I'm okay. Talents. God gives me the ability to do certain things. God gives me the ability to make some things happen. But I have to utilize that talent. And then there's time, which is probably the most precious of all those. I say this again. How many of us, by the way, can buy time? You ever tried that? I don't care who you are. You're the President of the United States, you're the King of Siam, you're the King of whatever, you're the most powerful person in the world. Go out and try to buy yourself another day of life. Go out and try to buy yourself another hour or another minute of life. Doesn't work that way. So God has given you, me, us, these gifts to utilize. And I have to be very careful. Instead of looking what the other person has and I don't have, maybe I better watch it. Because remember the punishment that God, the master, gave to the man who did nothing with his resources? He took what he had, gave it to the one with the 10, and then he sent him out into the outer darkness. So next time I'm looking and asking God, hey, God, give me more, give me more. I better be careful what I'm asking for, because God is expecting more from me then. And let's put it in blunt terms here. Most of us, materially, most of us are in decent shape. Most of us have a bed to sleep in. Most of us have food on our table. Most of us have clothes on our backs. Materially. If we want more, there are ways to try to get legal ways to get more. But that means I'm going to have to use my talents, use this. If I'm not satisfied with what I have, let me do materially. Let me go out and think of some more. And God has given me the time to do it. But how much? God is giving me all these things so that I can make something of them, make something of what I think God is wanting me to do. This is one of the more difficult things, and I'm saying this to some of our young people. One of the things that is difficult, I get it. We have grandchildren who are in that stage of life now too, getting ready to go out into the world, or they are out into the world. And you've heard this. What am I going to be do you know what you want to be when you grow up? Life changes. By the way, I've heard the average number of changes for those that are going to college, the average number of times majors are changed is between 4 and 5 times from freshman year to senior year. I thought I was going in for something and I ended up getting into something else. I've shared my story with you in the past, how God presents things and we respond in whatever way we think He is wanting us to respond. But we have opportunities to make something of our lives. You and I, are reminded today especially. Don't just sit back on my haunches and complain about what I don't have. Let me thank God for what I do have. Let me thank God for giving me so many opportunities in this, the greatest country in the world, still. And let me appreciate by multiplying even the one thing that I have, by utilizing and making something better, and not only making my life better, but maybe just doing something nice, something better for the person next to me. It is then that when my time is up and when God calls me, okay, your time is up, what have you done with this life? I will hopefully have something to give him in return. Lord, you gave me this. I give you back this. We're getting ready for a special time in our church calendar. We need to start getting serious on where our minds are aimed. God bless you. Good morning.